Um, so instead of the intro breakouts, I'll tell you a little bit more about the breakouts here in a second. But to open up, we're gonna flip the agenda. Instead of asking for updates at the end, we wanted to open the floor up right at the beginning here. If anybody wanted to share updates or have questions, comments, or concerns about anything going on in the space of prison education, before and after prison. So if anybody wants to jump in on updates, whether it be from things about NEGREG and the upcoming public comments, or things about exciting new aspect of your program, I wanted to open the floor for about 15 to 20 minutes to take comments and updates. Yes, Margaret.
Hi. I think I know most of you, but I'm Margaret from Vera, if I haven't met you yet. So the Department of Education said they were going to release a notice of proposed rulemaking in July. So maybe this week. Once it does go live, our plan is to schedule a Zoom session, and we'll send it out to this listserv just for if people want to hear a little bit of an overview, a little bit of like, here's how the public comment process works. Here's some sort of a template you might use if you want to submit public comment. It'll be a 30-day turnaround time. So our plan is just to schedule something about 2 weeks once it's released, so that people have a chance to read the thing, think about it, and then come have some discussion about it. So just want to give folks a heads up about that.
And Margaret, or anyone on the call, what are like some realistic hopes and expectations to come from that public comment period? If what can we? I mean, I guess also, do you all have a strategy on what does Vera or your team have a strategy on what they think they should be prioritized in that public comment period, or who you plan to bring or to encourage to, make comments?
Yeah, these are great questions. I will say, at least for myself, I've never been through this process before. So I'm curious to see how closely the language hews to what you all in the subcommittee discussed and what was agreed to by the full committee. And then if there are some dangling issues that still feel unresolved that you all brought up in the subcommittee, but it's hard to say right now, like, be ready to jump on this, because I don't know what it is. And I think we may all have different opinions on what that is too. The one thing I did ask some people who know about the process better. I said, should we and others be trying to organize sign-on letters, or is it better for people to submit their own comments? And the guidance that I was given, that I've gotten verified by a few others, is that having multiple people submit comments is actually better than having like a massive sign-on letter, because they have to respond to each comment. So just something to keep in mind too.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you. Did Noel, is your comment on that?
No.
What Margaret just shared? Does anyone have any thoughts, comments, or anything to add to what Margaret shared? Okay. Noel, you want to jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone that is in Columbus, Ohio, I'm going to be there next week presenting. There's a, as everyone on this call knows, right, there's this kind of this overlap for or this intersection of people coming out of prison that also have substance use disorder. And so one of my kind of just goals this entire time that I've kind of worked in higher ed is to kind of bridge that gap, right? Create resources, create programs for not only for people in substance use disorder recovery, but for people coming out of prison that have substance use disorder recovery that want to go back to school. And so a really cool opportunity. We got 3 formerly incarcerated scholars. They're going to join me on a panel at Ohio State University next Tuesday morning. But just in general, if anyone's like in that area, I'd love to meet with people and talk a little bit more about what they're doing. But it should be a really great panel. And, you know, as I kind of move in this space, I'm really trying to, you know, get people thinking about collegiate recovery program kind of as a social justice intervention or as a criminal justice intervention. And so anyways, that's just kind of something I wanted to bring up. The other thing is I just want to, and this is, and I'll have Jonathan, if you want to kind of talk about this a little bit as well. I just kind of want to get people thinking about this. Many people on this call with my work with Operation Restoration have done the Ban the Box in higher education, like webinars that I do often. And so basically what we're hoping to do in the next year or so is to create kind of an LMS for Ban the Box in higher education, so that, you know, we kind of have that little, so we have a resource to kind of send people to. It's basically like going to be the way I'm kind of envisioning it. And Jonathan, again, you can kind of chat on this a little bit more. It's your project. Is going to be an on tap. It's going to be a freely accessible webinar, plus many other resources around Ban the Box in higher education. I just think it'll be a great opportunity to, you know, just to have just a tap in kind of a thing for education system for people that want to learn more about Ban the Box in higher ed and how they can kind of get started in their state. And I'll hand it over to Jonathan if you want to add to that at all.
I mean, I don't have too much to add. I appreciate it, Noel. You know, we're my organization, Florida Justice Center, received a small 2-year grant to push some higher education and Ban the Box in higher ed in Florida. It's just as easy to scale it up to a national level. So Noel and I are going to be you know, building out this website. We got banthebox.org. We're going to build it out into an LMS to train advocates, to train, you know, financial aid staff, admission staff, different audiences on how they could get involved in this movement, what the specific issues are that surround them, and really just trying to make it both national and then with state specific modules to help people in different areas. So if anyone wants to get involved in that, if anyone wants to talk about, you know, a training model in your state or a training module in your state, any state specific rules, you know, we're always glad to have people contribute, especially since y'all are experts in that area.
Yeah, and there'll be many people on this call that we reach out to in doing that as well.
Just to be clear, it's not going to be like a Florida Justice Center project. It's a non-branded project based on all the organizations that participate. It'll be one of those where you have, you know, 10 organizations on the bottom of the page, and it's just going to be about banning the box.
Yeah, that's incredible. I certainly would love to be a part of that. So Noel, you can certainly reach out.
You know, you're the top person on the list as far as contact. So don't worry, you will definitely be a part of it.
That actually, you know, I'm open to others adding their thoughts on that, but that ties in to a little bit to the breakout activity that we'll be doing around the different subcommittees of Unlock Higher Ed. So I'll hold off on adding some additional thoughts around that. But does anybody else comments or questions for Noel or Jonathan? I have my tiny little guy with me, Prince William here with me, as has been given the title from the team members at P2P. They've added the Prince part to him, so I see a few of those that helped give him that name on the call. So got my little buddy with me here. If I happen to be interrupted, that's probably why. So for those that kind of just joined in, we were doing about 15 minutes of just trying to get we kind of flipped the agenda around and did open updates at the beginning instead of, we normally kind of leave a few minutes at the end to do those updates or comments, but we've just brought it to the beginning of the agenda for today. So does anyone else have any exciting new things they're doing in their program? Any concerns they have? Yes, Esther.
So do you mind if I do a quick intro and kind of ask for advice about why I'm here and all of that? It's sort of an update. So I am assistant professor at Gonzaga. I know some of you on the call, but one of the most important things for me is getting a bachelor's degree program set up in Washington State. We don't have one currently for the males. And I've had a really, really difficult time breaking into Washington State prisons. They have a very weird structure where they only allow one institution in, or one academic institution into the facility, and most of the facilities are partnered with community colleges. And the one in my area doesn't even offer an associate's degree. I think there's only like 2 credit-bearing courses. And so I have been struggling for the past year to try and get in. I just moved south though, and so I'm closer to another prison, so I'm going to try and get in that prison. But I noticed that somebody else is in Washington. So if anybody on the call has any experience with Washington, any connections in Washington, I would love that. I have spent hours and hours and hours on different calls with different DOC people and have made little to no headway, and it's extraordinarily frustrating. My university would probably offer extremely reduced tuition, if not free tuition. And I'm just not being able to get in, which I never imagined that a prison wouldn't let me in to teach. And I have professors that we would all love to go in. So any help would be super great. I am hopeful that now that I'm closer to another prison, maybe we can get in there, but that's kind of why I'm here. And obviously the mission's really important to me, so.
Yeah, Esther, I'll put my email in the chat. I graduated from I got my PhD at Washington State in 2019, and so have quite a bit of knowledge of the kind of the insight in Washington State. So I can definitely tell you what I know.
That would be super great. I mean, I'm hoping Stanley and I have talked a little bit about that some of the rules are going to really prevent this sort of monopolizing. We're hoping in Washington it'll kind of break that up. But I want to be doing everything I possibly can to get something going for people who are inside in Washington.
Thank you, Esther. Any other questions, comments to add to that? Right. I see. Is it Eric or Elric? I'm sorry.
That's all right. You got it. It's Eirik Steinhoff, member of the faculty at the Evergreen State College. Apologies for camera off. We've got really bad bandwidth up here near the forest. Esther, let's definitely get in touch. I think the eastern side of Washington is going to be in great need of a BA program. You're probably aware of the Freedom Education Project, Puget Sound, which is based out of the University of Puget Sound and works with the women's prison in Purdy. But so Evergreen is working on a 2+2 program in coordination with community colleges in our region here in Southwest Washington. I'll put my email into the chat as well so that we can coordinate and connect. It's really good to hear about what you're sharing from Gonzaga. I can just share a brief update from Evergreen. We've had very good meetings internally, and then externally those have started as well, but there is so much work to be done. And so it was good to hear earlier from Margaret around a process in anticipation of the rulemaking. We're going to be very interested in being as well informed as we can be. We do have very good partnerships with the community colleges. And Esther, as you were saying earlier, you used the language of monopoly. And the language that we're using is sort of non-competitive collaboration and supplementing of the curriculum that's already there. One of the issues that we have heard from the community colleges nearby is that they do have some challenges in getting to the AA degree in terms of meeting the general ed requirements in particular. That's not universal, but we have heard that. And so we're also looking at ways to fill some of those gaps on the road to the AA. And then the other objective really are transferable credits across the curriculum. So there's a lot of coordination to be done. And yeah, once again, I'm very grateful to be here. It's wonderful to see your faces. One day I'll be on campus and you can see my face when I've got a better signal.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments, questions from Esther's, what Esther shared? So maybe we're one or so more comments or updates if anyone has any. All right. Well, appreciate those who shared updates, comments, and questions. You know, we hope for this to be a space where folks can really come to provide those updates and push up exciting things in their programs, and also share concerns, questions, or areas that you know they're believed to need to be addressed. So the next part of the agenda is actually going to be breakouts. So that's why I held off on doing the normal intro breakout that we do for folks that have joined us. For folks that haven't joined us before, we usually start the meeting with about 12 minutes of breakout and give everyone the opportunity to share who they are and what program they're with. There's that interruption that I gave you pre-warning about. Hopefully I don't have to talk too much longer. Just explain what this breakout is going to be about. So soon I'm going to open up the breakouts, and the breakouts are actually titled after the subcommittees that are currently, what Unlock Higher Ed has had in the past. I know we had some people meet in the past about 2 months or so for a kind of intro subcommittee meeting. What we're really hoping for is to try and get people who might be interested in co-chairing one of the subcommittees. And we have on the website, which I'll share in the chat, or you can just, if you search Unlock Higher Ed Coalition, you could pull up the website and you'll see some of the work around the subcommittees that I'm about to pull up and what their kind of mission was. But we want to offer the opportunity to kind of reformat or think about writing a mission and charge for the subcommittees. So when I open up this rooms, you can pick whichever one. You're not assigned to a room. You could actually pick which room you want to go to. And once you go into that room that you pick, we hope for the conversation, one, for you to give a quick introduction of yourself, but then to have conversation around what the charge or mission or what you see that subcommittee of Unlock Higher Ed being able to contribute to the field at large. And so we hope to have breakouts for about 20 minutes on that or so. My son is teething, so he likes to chew on pretty much everything at the moment, including my hand. But any questions, further clarification on what we're going to be doing in the breakouts? If one of the breakout rooms is kind of like everybody goes there, I may jump in and ask that, someone help out in another breakout room. If no questions, then I'll open up, and you should get a little box that shows you all of the different breakout rooms. Is that right? And you can choose which one you want to go to, and once you choose, you'll pop over into that breakout room. So I'll give it a few moments to let everyone choose which breakout room they might be interested in. And then I will pop in to each one within the first 5 minutes to give a quick overview again, if there's any questions. But the rooms are working at federal level, state level, media and messaging, events, and membership.
I don't see a room option. I'm sorry. Is that? am I conf-
Did you, Taylor?
yeah.
Which one would you want? I can drop you in one. So federal level work, state level work, media and messaging, event planning, or membership.
State level work would be good, unless there's a lot of people in that one.
There's the most people in that one, but
I'll do membership or event planning then. I need put me in whatever one
Okay.
is best for you.
I'll put you in membership.
Okay.
Odell and do you see the options?
Yeah, I don't see the options either. So you can put me in. You can put me in federal. That's fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch
You
you.
can put me in federal. That'll be fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining, by the way.
Sure.
And Shahida, I'm sorry.
Shahida.
Shahida,
How
I'm
are
sorry.
you?
I'm doing well. Is
Can you
there
give me the options again? I don't recall.
federal level work, state level work, media and messaging, events, and membership?
I'll take media and messaging.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so just give it a few minutes here or a few seconds to let folks jump back into the main room here. Right, so it looks like there's still a few breakout rooms closing out. So just give it a couple seconds. In the last couple minutes, I was hoping to have a few people share about what they discussed, and then have one person who's willing from the group to have potentially have the opportunity for me to reach out to them to if there's notes, or for them to send me the notes from the session. But is there anyone? I think we're just about everyone joined back here. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first in terms of sharing what they discussed in their breakout?
I can jump in, Stan. Our group was great. And I think the interesting thing for me, the interesting thing about the group is that you had, 3 or 5 different people with really different ideas of or different like aspects of state level advocacy. So Mark talked a little bit about kind of advocacy at like the, he's just so passionate about it because, he would still be in prison if it weren't for advocates that had come in and changed the sentencing laws in his state. And so kind of having that perspective in that, or wanting to do work in that area. Jonathan and I kind of talked a little bit about ban the box in higher education. And then Margaret, Esther, and Eric really kind of talked about this idea with the implementation of Pell and how piecemeal all of the different states are in whether or not they allow whether or not they even have state level like funding available, and then there's other piecemeal things, whether it's maybe philanthropic dollars. I know that Washington had philanthropic money through the Sunshine Foundation for a really long time, but trying to like understand all of those things and how that will be important once Pell is implemented, and the possibility of maybe creating a toolbox for DOCs to kind of help them with some of these things that they're going to run into as they start thinking about, trying to create programs with this new Pell funding. So anyways, it was just really a learning session for me. And I got to just listen to a whole bunch of really, really cool people talk about cool stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, Noel. Did anyone happen to show interest in wanting to be a co-chair in that committee, in that room? Did you guys get to that part of the discussion?
Man, we're so wrapped up in what we're doing, we didn't get to the mission or the co-chair.
Anyone from that group interested? Okay. Esther? Okay. So that is, thank you. We'll reach out to you to talk more about that. I can go quickly for the group that I ended up jumping in, which was membership. And we just gave a quick idea of what we'd be looking for in terms of, using a membership model as a way to really elevate the visibility and the mission of what Unlock Higher Ed is. And we really just got to the point of thinking about meeting again, and both the folks on there were interested in being co-chairs. So I will pass it to another volunteer. Sheila, what group were you with?
Federal advocacy.
Perfect.
Okay, so we, I think we're pretty much in agreement with stuff. We came up with a draft of a mission and a charge. We were just getting ready to do the vice chair thing. We did, I think, guys, make an agreement that we'd like somebody who's system impacted to be the chair of this. But we hadn't narrowed that down yet. I mean, Baja all of a sudden dove under the table, and then, it was a problem. So we almost got there, Stan.
Nice. Will you be, and
I can send you the mission charge thing.
Noel, did you have notes did anyone take physical notes in your group that would be interested to pass it along to us?
No, I mean, I can write something up real quick, but no one,
Okay.
I don't think anyone took physical note.
Perfect. If you could send that, that would be great. Just a short few lines of what you just shared. We have it on recording too, and the transcript. Thank you, Sheila. And how about one of the other groups, if anyone wants to jump in? So I believe events and then media and messaging.
I don't mind to hop on for media and messaging. I'm Jess. I'm the communications associate at P2P. We, in our group, we kind of did an overview of our subcommittee meeting back in June and kind of where our website is right now, what is posted, what is missing, what's been updated on our socials and what hasn't. And so we kind of did an overview of where we are there. And we talked a little bit about our mission and our charge. And our mission, we would say, would be to continue to convey the importance of the efforts of Unlock Higher Ed, its advocacy for higher ed programs in prison, and its push for federal and state legislation to support those programs, broadcasting the endeavors of its members and organizations, and build awareness of efforts made within individual states and nationwide. And our charge, I would say, would be to update frequently information for dissemination. So that's us.
That's fantastic. I mean, I thought you were holding out because you guys didn't really talk about anything, but like you have a full-fledged mission and charge.
We do the work. We're ready.
Did you have a conversation around co-chairs? Okay, no worries. You're muted, but I think we heard the no. Or saw the no. Thank you. So lastly, and I see we only have 2 minutes, and that's why we did the updates up front. So we'll basically just close right out. There won't be any last minute things to share. But events, did you have anything you wanted to summary?
I guess I can share for that group. What we really talked about was the experience that we have and the opportunities that we think is out there for Unlock Higher Ed to potentially host conferences with our experience, dealing with NCHEP and, a few of us from P2P going to JFF. We feel like this is a place and that Unlock Higher Ed can exist in, and we would do the research. Mary on our committee or in our discussions talked about her experience with it, getting grants. We think about sponsors and all that stuff. So we're putting some stuff together on paper, keep it in a drive where we want to constantly build out that conversation. And let's make Unlock Higher Ed a place where people in this space could be energized. We could have, folks in this group that we could do the breakout rooms, the sessions. We just think that it's a place that can exist. So that's the conversation we had. We did not talk about who was going to be co-chairing.
co-chair.
We were just more talking about building out the idea of where this can go.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. If you wanted to drop me a few lines of that summary, or we also have it on transcript here, either one. We are at the hour, so thank you everyone for joining. We will be following up with those subcommittee notes on mission charge, and we'll be sending out, there's been some people have signed up for those different groups, so we'll send a message out to try to convene those subcommittees this month and provide that summarized mission charge to the group and go from there. But thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time as always, and look forward to connecting again soon. And James, the suit is looking sharp, man. Did you get any notes in the chat or anything like that?
No, I didn't, but thank you.
Appreciate you for joining, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Stanley.
All right, take care. Bye, everyone.